Hey everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is Locked On Sports Minnesota, and today, it's Friday, so you know what that means. It's time for the Roundtable. We got Reggie Wilson from Kare 11, we got Luke Inman, and we got Sam Ekstrom, the producer that does it all. And today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com/locked-on or go to birddogs.com and just enter the promo code locked-on for a free water bottle with any purchase. You won't want to take your bird dogs off, we promise. And just text Sam. Sam sleeps in his. He walks the dogs in them, feeds the kids in them. Hey, bird dogs are the way to go. You can go from the pool to dinner. Just go to birddogs.com again and enter the promo code locked on. Well, it's been a busy week, people. There's been contracts, $275 million to Joe Burrow, highest paid player ever. So I saw some people say, you think Caleb Williams is staying in school now? Probably not. After that one, he's coming out. But you know what? This show, we have some huge topics to hit on. You got Vikings, you got Gophers. There's tennis out there right now in the world. You got the Twins who are probably going to win the AL Central. And I say probably because you never really know in sports. But we got to get locked in on these topics today. So what you got for us, Luke?
Yeah, Vikes Bucks Sunday at noon, guys. Let's talk about which players are going to ball out and steal the headlines Monday morning.
I'm calling the fight. AL Central is done. It's the Twins. They've won it. They've done it. How did we get here? How did we get to the point where the Twins are going to be division champions? And what's next for Minnesota?
22 games left, Sam. Let's pump the brakes. But Dan Campbell, biting kneecaps. Is it actually working? Scored the upset over the Chiefs last night.
Yeah, I watched the Chiefs and I watched the Lions, and I think Travis Kelce being out, Chris Jones being gone. I think if they're there, it's a different game, but we'll talk about that next. But we have to also, there's more football, people. Saturday, the Gophers take on Eastern Michigan. That's me versus my dad. My dad passed away in 2018. The Gophers have never played Eastern Michigan. Years and years, I had to hear him say, if Eastern Michigan ever played Minnesota, Eastern Michigan would kick Minnesota's butt. So now we really get a chance. So me and my pops are going to sit back, have a drink and a cigar as we watch the Gophers. And then we're going to have a little postcast after the Gophers game for a little fan interaction. You guys let us know what you want to talk about. But we're going to talk about this Gophers Eastern Michigan game and what does this mean for PJ Fleck. There's a record out there. And the only person I think better than him right now is Nick Saban is one of the people. PJ Fleck is in the top 3 of this category. Nick Saban is one of the guys in this category. So we'll talk about that as well coming up. And of course, we got to give you guys our prediction on the Vikings Buccaneers game. We'll see who's closest, who's the furthest. And you fans, you let us know what you think the score of the Vikings Buccaneers game will be on Sunday. But with no further ado, it's time to get into the show. So let's jump into it, Luke.
Yeah, Vikes season opener Sunday versus the Bucks. A lot of different storylines to follow in this one, but I kind of want to hone in on which players could steal the show, make the headlines. And I've been doing some digging on this matchup all week, and specifically what this Vikings defense needs to do to start creating some more pressure this year. Because last year, guys, it was putrid. 24th in the league in blitz percentage. That's bottom 7. Bottom 10 in pressure percentage. Bottom 3rd in sacks. So the A topic has to be getting more pressure, more blitzes, more sacks, more quarterback knockdowns, all of it. Every single one of those things is Brian Flores' MO. He's a master at dialing up pressures, but you still got to have the players to go execute. Last year, as much as we loved Eric Hendricks, he was not a guy who really excelled at getting after the passer. People forget this. He had 0 quarterback pressures last season. He had 1 sack on the stat sheet. That was a cleanup sack, not something he generated on his own. This year, they swap him out with their new secret weapon, Ivan Pace Jr. I think that's going to be the guy that helps Flores achieve the things he wants to behind the line of scrimmage Sunday. It's a guy who ranked number 1 in the entire country among all linebackers in quarterback pressures last season with 31. I know it's apples and oranges here, okay, but just think about going from a linebacker who had 0 pressures to a guy who, yes, at the collegiate level, I get it, but who had 31 quarterback pressures last season. That's the guy I think makes the headlines Monday morning, kind of steals the show because he's the guy who's going to get in the backfield, create some havoc for Baker Mayfield and that Bucs offense. And if you think they're just not going to use Ivan Pace Jr. because he's an undrafted rookie and it's only week 1, go watch the preseason tape. Tell me that's not a guy who's ready to start out the gate after wearing the green dot all training camp. He's the guy I'm watching for to steal the show inside that front seven, especially knowing Brian Asamoah still dealing with a little shoulder injury. He may not be 100%. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that a lot, Luke. And Flores did say that Pace probably would see some snaps. He declared Asamoah as the starter, but again, if you start, it doesn't always mean you're going to finish, and it doesn't mean there's not going to be a rotation. So we might see all three of those guys. I like that a lot, getting some pressure from those interior linebackers. Here's where I'm looking. I'm thinking back to last year, week 1. Before the TJ Hawkinson era began in Minnesota, who was the number 2 tight end? It was Johnny Munt. And Johnny Munt came into Minnesota as an afterthought. He really had never had any kind of success catching the ball at the NFL level. And what did the Vikings do in week 1 last year with Johnny Munt? He got 40 snaps in that game, which was the second most of his career, and he matched a career high with 3 receptions against the Packers. Now, I'm not saying Johnny Munt is going to be the guy this year. I'm saying, who's your number 2 tight end now? Who did you invest in the offseason? Who is the wild card in this offense? I think it's Josh Oliver. I think Josh Oliver is going to see a Johnny Munt-like workload in week 1 this year. I think he's going to see 40 or more snaps. In his career, guys, he has not been given much of a chance to be on the field. Only 8 times in his career does he have more than 30 snaps in a game. I think the Vikings will give him that chance, and he will be targeted in this offense. I've got Josh Oliver not only making a huge impact, paving lanes for Madison and Chandler. I think he has 4 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown in this game, and we will talk about him as the Vikings X Factor.
Ooh, I like it, Sam. Okay, so my X Factor is not someone who is under the radar at all. My X Factor is Kirk Cousins. I think that this offseason has really energized him. He's got the Netflix documentary Quarterback under his belt. He seems to just be lighter. He seems to be like even more quirky than he usually is. Has a lot of fun in camp, has a good camp, and I think he's just light and loose in this contract year. He has a lot to play for, and I think that's what we're going to see from Kirk coming out on Sunday. I think he's going to push the ball down the field. He's got all these weapons in his arsenal now to really do work on the offensive side, and I think we're just going to see him be a more comfortable guy back there. Still a little uptight as a player just because that's who he is, but I think he's going to be a little bit more cerebral. And I think with the weapons that he has a good chance to stay ahead of the chains a little bit more. And so I think we'll see him maybe go for 3 or 4 touchdowns on Sunday. I think that's my X factor, Kirk Cousins.
So if your X factor is Kirk Cousins, Reggie, I gotta believe mine's gonna be true then. My X factor has something to do with the departure of one Adam John Thielen. AJ Thielen has left the building. He's now with the Carolina Panthers. When you look at AJ Thielen and what he did last year, his targets, 107 targets, 70 catches, and 6 touchdowns. Now, what I'm not saying is that KJ Osborne's 90 targets last year means he's going to pick up all 100 targets. I think, like Sam said, Josh Oliver will get some of these targets. I think the target usage of TJ Hawkinson will increase. The Justin Jefferson targets will increase. But KJ Osborne's will increase. KJ Osborne will have over 100 targets this season as a receiver too. I think it's going to take a lot for Jordan Addison to really take him out. I don't think Jordan Addison is Justin Jefferson, where Justin Jefferson came in and took BC Johnson out. I think BC Johnson and KJ Osborne are different animals. They're different beasts, and so it's a different set when you know KJ Osborne can be wide receiver too. I mean, he went to the U, so you know he has that in him. He has that dog in him. I think KJ Osborne might steal the show because one Antoine Winfield Jr. grew up in Eden Prairie, played for Eden Prairie youth football. He moved on to high school and went to Texas when his dad left Minnesota, but Antoine Winfield knows US Bank Stadium. He knows this area. He also knows Justin Jefferson. If I'm the safety and I play the nickel as well, and I can alleviate Justin Jefferson, meaning give me help, like Kevin Hart, help me, help me. Like that's what they're going to be saying. Everybody that's going to be manned up on Justin Jefferson is going to be Kevin Hart in that game. Help me. Just help me. They're not going to let Justin Jefferson just kill him. So who's going to be open and get got a one-on-one outside? Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne. I think KJ Osborne is going to steal the show. I don't know how many targets exactly for this game, but in 2021 and 2020 openers, Justin Jefferson was on the team. Adam Thielen, 9 catches, 92 yards and 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then 2022, Justin Jefferson, 9 catches, 184 and 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, the last 3 seasons, has had a receiver in the opener get 2 touchdowns. Not to say I don't think KJ Osborne is the guy, but I feel like KJ Osborne might be that target guy because he always targets one guy in the opener a lot too. I think it's going to default to KJ Osborne, so that's my guy that's going to steal the show. But here's another one, fellas. A little double question in this. If you think about FanDuel wagers, because there's some FanDuel wagers out there for this game specifically, you guys can go to FanDuel.com/locked on. You can go to the FanDuel app like I do. And when you go on there, you can look at the wager, Sam and Luke and Reggie. So I go to you first, Luke. When you look at these FanDuel wagers, what's one wager of this game that you're like, I really like it, and this is why, Luke?
Yeah, well, between Flores' aggressive blitzing scheme and then just all the love I just gave Ivan Pace Jr., not to mention Bucks right tackle Tristan Wirfs, he's making a switch to left tackle for the first time. That means Danielle Hunter can line up on his natural side and attack second-year man Luke Gadecki. He played more guard last year than anything. I love the Vikings bets on the over total team sack total. Now, a lot of time the team bets, they don't come out till Saturday night, maybe Sunday morning. If you can't find that bet, you can only find the total game sacks. I still love the over because the Bucks have one of the best pass rushing nose tackles in the league. Vita Vea, he had 6.5 sacks last year. Not to mention they get arguably their best pass rusher back with Shaq Barrett, who ended the season hurt. So I think both teams' defensive lines and pass rushers match up really well versus the offensive line Sunday. So find any of those sack totals, hammer the over.
I like that. We'll have to watch for that on FanDuel. I'm actually going to do a pro Buccaneers suggestion. So I'm looking at the over-under rushing totals for Rachaad White. 44.5. Now, this is not a high-powered passing offense. This is a Baker Mayfield offense. Baker Mayfield needs a running game. And I listened to Locked On Bucks this week, and James Yarcho told me that Rachaad White is a bell cow type in this offense. He's not a rotational piece. He is the lead back. So if the over-under is 44.5, what does he need? 10 carries? 11 carries to get that? I'd hammer the over. And you know what? The bettors agree with me because all the money's coming in on that over. Minus 130 on the over compared to minus 102 on the under. So that number might move with all the money coming in. But I would still hammer the over on Rachaad White, 44.5, because, guys, the Vikings rush defense, they gave up 100 or more yards in 13 of 17 games last year. I don't know yet if they've improved. So if that rush defense is going to give up over 100 yards, surely Rachaad White is going to have 45 of those yards. So I would actually take the Bucks rushing attack to go over the total for Rachaad White.
I like that.
Reginald.
So I was looking at this first touchdown score and Alexander Mattison plus 480. I have a real strong feeling that Alexander Mattison scores the game's first touchdown. I don't know if it's on the ground or in the air, some type of screen pass, Sam. The screen game. The screen game. Yes. I really like that. Of Alexander Mattison scoring the team's first touchdown. You know, if it's a pass from Kirko to get the team down to the end within the 5-yard line, and then Madison powers it in. I like that.
Okay.
Plus 480.
I'm going to give you guys one that is very fun. This makes you stay in the game the entire time. Sam knows how I do this. Same game parlay, people. If you have not gone to the SGP, and you just scroll down to the SGP, it'll have the signal by them. That means all those bets are the same game parlay. Now, some of these is like, plus 120, plus. But if you put these together, this is work. So anytime touchdown score, you can take Justin Jefferson. You can take Alexander Mattison. You can also, and here's one, alternate receiving yards for Justin Jefferson. In order to get money on JJ, you have to jump to the 100+ yards. He's 124. So here's one. I'm going to just tell you an easy one. I would go Justin Jefferson, 100+ yards. That's plus 124. Alexander Mattison, plus 60 rushing yards. That's going to put you on the plus side. So there's two easy ones. And then Justin Jefferson, because you can do first touchdown score. That's in there. Reggie's is in there for Alexander Mattison, plus 480. I do like that. But Justin Jefferson, 650. I'm torn between those two because I feel like the only way to really get the season started off right, those two guys do make the storyline hit. One, the $1 million receiver. Two, the running back that's replacing Dalvin Cook. But I can't pick just one because I'm going to be upset if they score and my guy didn't score. So I would go with any time touchdown score. And in that one, I would for sure go Justin Jefferson. So that's a way to take three easy ones, put them together. And the only reason I say that is because if KJ Osborne is matriculating us down the field and helping out, by the time they get to the red zone, that defense probably going to be like, all right, man, we got to watch this KJ Osborne kid because clearly they know we're trying to take Justin Jefferson out this game. JJ's going to hit him with a choice route, touchdown. Or Alexander Mattison, to his point, in the red zone, I feel like Kevin O'Connell does want to get the run going. He's not running up the middle. I'll give you that. It's not going to be up Vita Veda in Vita Veda's face because Garrett Bradbury, Vita Veda, nah. Ed Ingram, nah. Go outside. Go away from those guys. Let Christian Darrisaw or somebody else. But I think those are good ones for you people. Anytime touchdown scores, you can go Alexander Mattison or both if you really want to build that bet up. But the same game parlay, Sam, that's the one I love the most because you can put a bunch in it and you can make way more money off just $10. And then if you put the locked on deal in there, you get the bonus bet. So before we jump into the Birddogs read, because Birddogs has a great offer for you people, and Sam's told you he sleeps in his. So clearly they're comfortable. He sleeps in them, he wakes up, he does locked on he doesn't even change clothes. He just brushes his teeth, washes his face, gets the kids out, and then he's back downstairs in his Birddogs. But before we do that, man, everybody was watching TV last night. So Reggie, tell us what you thought about it.
How about the mic drop after the game? I guess someone asked Dan Campbell what he learned about his team. He was like, I didn't learn anything. I already knew it.
I didn't already know.
I'm like, dang. So what was interesting about last night was the Lions. It was weird. The Lions played like they didn't have anything to lose, but simultaneously aggressive. Like that call on fourth down to go for it was one of the ballsiest calls in that moment that I have seen. And I tweeted that Sam Cassell gif with the Timberwolves where he's just like running down the court. Because I feel like that's Dan Campbell all the time. Like, you know, he has the utmost belief in his team. Sometimes to his detriment. We saw how it backfired in that game against the Vikings last year. But I think what is interesting about it is they've built a bully. Shout out to Brad Holmes, man. Mm-hmm. People killed the Lions for taking Gibbs 12 overall. And like, I still don't know that I love them taking him right there, but that dude is going to be a stud. People killed them for giving up Jamal Williams, signing David Montgomery. Early returns look pretty good on David Montgomery. Like, they probably should have lost that game last night if the Chiefs were on it. But so many drops from Kadarius Toney, so many drops from the receiver core in general. It was cute last year. Hey, we lost Tyreek Hill. We're not really sure what, is going to be of that offense. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. They pull it together. Well, he still needs guys that are going to catch the ball consistently. And Kadarius Toney could not hold on to a pass last night. And so they need to give Pat a number one receiver. If he had even Kelsey in that offense yesterday, they probably win that game. But taking nothing away from Detroit, they're going to the champ's house. They still won. They go in there and take it. That offensive line is amazing. When Jameson Williams comes back, that's going to be a problem as well for this offense. I was on record. I have been on record saying, look, I don't think the Lions are going to be what the hype is saying. My guy, Karin Phillips, senior writer at Deadspin, he put out an article last year saying Dan Campbell was in over his head. It's going to be a disaster. He put out an apology column this morning saying, dang, I messed up. The Lions are legit. And so that's what it looks like. The hype train is real, I think, with Detroit. And that is weird because we've just never said anything like that before.
Luke.
Anytime you go into Arrowhead on a national stage, it says something. Like, that speaks volumes. And Dan Campbell, I mean, Reggie touched on it. He's changed the identity of this team. What we used to remember about the Lions is no more. He's exactly what this team needed to build this whole thing back up from scratch a few years ago. And he's gotten the players clearly to buy into the system, the schemes, the philosophies, and how they want to win football games. You combine that with what Brad Holmes has done, the GM, who, in my opinion, has crushed the draft the last 3 seasons, nailed their top 10 picks, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, building that team through the trenches first and foremost, like Reggie said. They built a top 5, 6-ish offensive line, and then you find the gems, the steals of the draft, like Amon-Ra St. Brown in round 5, round 6, later in the draft. They built this team the right way, and they sealed the deal, I think, this year when they went and got 3 instant impact guys with Gibbs, Campbell, the linebacker, Brian Branch, the safety who had a pick 6 last night. So I think the roster's set, not just for this year. You think the hype's real now? This roster's set for the future, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. How far they go, it just depends on the arm of Jared Goff. I mean, he's still got to prove he can be the guy that can elevate the team and put that team on his back come playoff time. Now, I will say, as big of a win that was last night, it's only one game, and it's a game you got to face the Chiefs without their best defensive player in Chris Jones. I think even more detrimental was losing your best offensive skill player in Travis Kelce, just hours before kickoff. So not trying to take anything away from the Lions last night, because a win's a win, especially on the road versus the champs. But you play the Chiefs in week 15 instead of week 1. Maybe that thing looks a little bit different. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, let's call a spade a spade. The offensive play in this game was pretty stinky. Like both sides. The rushing attacks were both under 4 yards per carry. Yards per play, 5.3 and 5.1. Both teams were 33% on 3rd and 4th down combined. There were turnovers. There was sloppiness, a lot of sloppiness. But you know what's the takeaway? Is the Lions defense looked much improved. They caused a lot of those struggles for the Chiefs. Now, the drops are one thing, but they forced a turnover. They got stops on 3rd down. They came up big, and their pass rush couldn't be slowed, and the Chiefs had to hold them each play and not get called. The Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I thought, made an impact kind of in run defense, and he was all over the place. So that Lions defense might be improved. And their offense, I think you can believe they're going to come along and improve and get better. But the defense looked pretty good, you guys. And that was the big question mark. Is the defense actually any better? Just really taken aback, too, by how unaggressive Andy Reid was when they had a couple 4th and 2s in Lions territory and settled for field goals. Those are clear go-for-it situations. And they made the classic mistake. They chose to go up 6 and force the other team to beat them instead of trying to go for it and, go in for the kill. So strange conservative coaching from Andy Reid, and the Lions were opportunistic. Give them credit for converting that touchdown drive when they needed it.
I mean, if you look at this game too, Sam, and the thing I like that you said is about the stats. The stats and the stinky is a total dad. You could tell somebody with young kids, stinky game.
Yeah.
Stinky poopy
Not
game.
like I use that word every day.
Such a stinky poopy game. But when you look at the stats, and Sam, you're dead on. This is what I looked at. If I were to ask you guys last week, heading into this week for Thursday, if we had said, hey, who, by show of hands, who think that Patrick Mahomes will throw for less yards and have a worse percentage in completions than Jared Goff? I don't think anybody would raise their hand. I don't think anybody would. Everybody would assume Patrick Mahomes coming out early is going to kill it. Patrick Mahomes' best receiver had 48 yards receiving, and that was MVS. Then you had Justin Watson, 45 yards. Then you had Isaiah Pacheco, 31 yards. If you were to look at what's his name, Kadarius Toney, 1 catch, 1 yard. His drops had more yards than his catches. Like his drops after the ball hit the ground after he dropped it, traveled more yards than he had receiving. Like that's what's sad, is that one catch for 1 yard and everything. Like I love the F it. Let's do somebody's highlights. Like this morning, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet, but it was like F it. Kadarius Toney highlight.
Yeah, that was great. Yep.
It's like 4 straight plays of like, whoa, it didn't feel that bad, but it was bad. And so I will say the Chiefs seem off. Matt Nagy didn't seem he didn't seem like he had a groove. You know, it wasn't 2016, 17. The Lions just had a oomph about them that they were like, look, boom, we're going to close this game out by running the ball and beating you up. We're going to bear hug you. We're going to throw you into the ground. I will say this. The Lions looked impressive. Now, granted, everybody's going to say Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, blah, blah. The Lions look impressive. At the end of the day, everybody talked about it doesn't matter who plays. Patrick Mahomes is going to turn him into a star. We didn't do that last night. He didn't turn people into stars last night. He looked pretty like normal. Like he didn't do anything special. Like it wasn't a Patrick Mahomes. Like I love Chris Collinsworth. Oh, okay. Patrick Mahomes about to show y'all who he is. He's about to drive down and win the. Oh wait, 4th down and 27. Okay. Like what happened, Chris? Like you swallowed your words. Like it started off with Patrick Mahomes about to show the world how great he is because he's about to drive down for a field goal probably and beat the Lions. I thought so too. And then when they were 4th and 25, I'm like, it's over. This is it. Like the Lions are good. And then the Lions,
punted.
They should have. They should have. You're right. I thought about that too. I'm like, just punt it, because then you put the Lions, they're not going to go for it on 4th down on their 30. They're going to go for it 4th down in your territory. And that's what Dan Campbell did. And that's why they put their foot in their throat. But we got to jump into Birddogs. Birddogs has an awesome offer for you people. Coming back after the Birddogs read, we're going to talk a little Twins, Gophers. We're going to close the show out with a little score prediction. So Sam, take it away.
You got it. It's a Birddogs Friday. I'm wearing them right now. I'm going to wear them later. I'm going to wear them to bed. I love my Birddogs because they are all season. When you have the shorts, you can wear them in the heat of the afternoon. You got the pants with the cozy liners. You can wear them in the chilly morning. It was 50 degrees this morning. I got to have something that hugs my legs and, sculpts my thighs. And that's what Birddogs does. Birddogs.com/locked-on to take advantage of their latest offer. With any purchase, you get a free Birddogs water bottle. They've given out the white tech hat. They've given out the tumbler that I drink my coffee in every morning. And now it's the Birddogs water bottle. Birddogs are special because they've got that special cloud knit fabric that keeps you cool and still keeps you warm. It's like an unbelievable technology that's in these pants. I swear to you, these are my new favorite pants. They are so comfortable, they are slimming, and they make you feel and look really good. Birddogs.com/locked-on. Use the promo code locked-on as well at checkout. Get that free water bottle. Birddogs, you won't want to take them off.
Well, Sam, I know you want to talk about the Twins. Reggie said there's 22 games left. So calm down. It's not over yet. But Sam, what you got to go with the Twins?
No, it's over. It's over. The Twins only needed to win one game, I think, in that Guardian series. They won 2. They increased the lead, 6-game lead with 22 to go. So if the Twins simply finish 500, 11-11, and keep in mind, they play the Rockies, they play the A's, they have the Mets, another stinky product this weekend. The Twins are going to go 500, if not better. That would mean the Guardians would need to go 17-5 down the stretch just to tie them. That's not going to happen. The Twins are going to win the Central, and they're going to win it comfortably. The Guardians are hardly trying. I know they signed some guys off waivers, but yeah, that was a last-ditch effort that was ultimately fruitless. It's over. So how did the Twins get here? The offense came alive, and this is finally an enjoyable team to watch because they string hits together. They leave the ballpark. They hit home runs. It seems like they've actually got some chemistry. They've got the little dance when they get on second base. It's actually fun to watch. If you look at their stats overall, pretty respectable. 16th in on-base percentage, 14th in runs, 13th in OPS, 6th in home runs. So they're league average now, if not above league average in some of these key offensive categories. They finally got there, and I actually like this team going into the playoff stretch. And they get Kirilloff back, and Kirilloff's been ripping it up at AAA in his rehab stint. Michael A. Taylor should be back soon. Get Joey Gallo out of the lineup. I don't want to see him take any more at bats. Get Kirilloff in there to take the left-handed outfielder at bats. Let Gallo just hang out. He can chew some bubble gum. But yeah, I'm excited about this team now. I like him.
Reggie.
You did not mention Byron Buxton just then. That was interesting, Sam.
Well, I can't trust the knee. Apparently, it's sad. It's sad, but like, I kind of like the lineup honestly with Michael A. Taylor right now. Once he gets back, I think he's a more compelling piece in October than Buxton. I'm like, can Buxton be a pinch runner? Can be a pinch hitter? Maybe, but it's tough.
Maybe not a pinch runner with that knee.
Yeah,
that whole thing is crazy. That's my thing, really. Like, the amount of winning that they've done without one of their highest paid players. Byron Buxton's out of the lineup, and they're still winning, and it really doesn't seem to be affecting them much. That's the crazy part for me. You know, I explained on Kare that, like, the Twins experience is like that girlfriend that you say you were going to leave alone, and she said, "Baby, I've changed." And you're like, okay, I believe you. And then you take her back, and then they break your heart again. And I feel like that's been my experience since I have been here in Minnesota. The Twins make you believe. Like last year, man, they had some believers. And then all the fans were like, yes, baby, yes. And they were like, what? This is not working for me anymore. I think it's time for us to go our separate ways. And we're like, but we were doing so well. What do you mean? I take you on dates. You know, you've been happy, right? Right? The Twins were like, no, actually, we need to go our separate ways. And I think that's been really like the thing with the Twins for me. It just doesn't seem like you can trust it. 22 games left. They didn't even play last night, and the magic number goes down to 16 because of the Guardians' loss. And you're like, oh, well, maybe we could trust them. But it still just doesn't, until the playoffs actually start, it still just doesn't feel like you can trust them. But they have played some really good baseball. They have a formula for a team that could actually do some work. They got the bats getting hot. They got a really good pitching staff. Pray for the bullpen. But, like, they seem like a team that can make some noise. But it's just so hard to trust them because Minnesota sports.
Reg, that relationship sounds stinky, man. I don't want anything to do with that. All right. And Sam, you said 6-game lead, 6.5.
6.5.
Come on, put some respect on that lead. But
I didn't check the score last night. I apologize.
Yeah, that was a late ending. But you touched on the offense, man. In 11 games, they've averaged almost 7 runs a game, which ranks second in the league. And I know that 20-run outburst kind of inflates those stats quite a bit. You take that game out of the equation, though, they've still been in the top 12 offense the past 2 weeks. That's awfully encouraging. And maybe what's most beneficial about locking this thing up so early now, what I'm just loving, we're already seeing it a little bit here, some little shades. They can finally give some of these guys a breather, some rest before things ramp back up in the playoffs. I mean, this week alone, if you've noticed, the bullpen, they've been able to lean on guys like Hedrick, Louis Varland, who, by the way, Louis Varland looked great, by the way, in his first relieving appearance. And now they can give their core guys just a chance to catch a breather, rest those arms up. I mean, in the last 5 days alone, since they took 2 from Cleveland, Johan Duran, he hasn't thrown a single pitch. That's huge. Josh Winder, he's only thrown 5 pitches. Thielbar and Pagan, they've thrown 22 total pitches between the two of them. Plus, you mentioned it, Sam, too, Angels, A's, Rockies to end the season. It just feels like the perfect opportunity to sit some of these guys, and all this rest, it could play a huge factor on the starting lineup and these pitching arms come October.
Yeah, Sam, Reggie, Luke. Reggie, I like what you said. No Byron Buxton. Yeah, I don't think they need him, though. Here's the thing. The 20-run burst, the 10 runs. That's the way you win overall. And I agree with Reggie. I don't care about the labor. I hate to say it. I don't care about, just show me the baby. Get me to the playoffs. Like, I want to see them in the playoffs, because we could talk about how big of a lead they had going into this. We could talk, if they go into the playoffs and lay an egg like they've done before, Reggie's right. It is like that girlfriend, which that's a stinky girlfriend. That is. But yeah, baby, I've changed. I'm going to do this. We're going to spend some time together. And then you get home and she sleep, or she doesn't text you back. She's all, you got to call me first. No, you call me. You check on me. The Twins never check on us. They never check on us. But I want to see in the playoffs where they become that team that everybody's. So you got Carlos Correa right now leading the team in hits. You got Donovan Solano. You got Max Kepler. You got Eduardo. You got Michael A. Taylor, like Sam said. He needs to stay up there. When you are one of the top 5 guys, and I'm using softball right now because you look at Oklahoma, you look at Florida, you look at Tennessee, Stanford, teams that are good. LSU has like 6 left-handed girls on their softball team, by the way, which is phenomenal. And when you think about those teams that made it to the College World Series, it was the hitters. The pitchers were like, yeah, we have one ace, but then we have a decent group. It was the hitters. The hitters make the pitcher's life so much more comfortable. These hitters can take the pressure off that bullpen by doing what they do and putting the ball in play. And then, like Sam said, when you get on second base, do the Jet gritty. Do the Twins gritty. Come up with something. Like, do whatever you got to do in the playoffs to get the whole crowd, the whole city behind you. Because honestly, let's be real. If the Vikings are undefeated in October and the Twins are in the playoffs in October, this town is going to be very split on who they follow, and that'll be interesting to see who follows who. But we got to move on. It's Gopher football time, people. Eastern Michigan versus the Gophers. They're coming to town. PJ Fleck is 18-1 against non-Power 5 schools, which is third best in college football. I know Alabama's one of them. I forgot who the other one was.